Hello everyone, it's Dawn and welcome. And today we're going to be continuing with our series on painting foliage. And we're going to paint this little scene, and it's not going to take as long as you might think it will. And we've got a simple hedgerow, and we've got a couple of trees, and this will be grass just to finish the scene. Now I've already painted the sky, and that was just in one colour of blue and a basic wash. And the reason I've brought it right down behind this bush is so that we don't get any gaps. If you were going to draw this in first, I painted the sky first, but if you were going to draw it in first, you might want to paint round it. But I just thought this, if you actually do it this way, you get a more continuous sky, otherwise you might get patches. So we're actually going to paint in the trees first, and there's a reason for that. We're painting in watercolour pencils. If you've joined me on this channel before, you will have seen me do lots and lots of paintings in watercolour pencils. And if we did the bush first, or the hedgerow first, we might get an unnatural join here and here. So if we do the trees first, then the bush will come over the top, or the hedge. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to paint in these two trees. And I'm just going to use a mid-tone brown, and I'm going to paint it dry. Dry on dry. That means dry pencil onto a dry paper. And this is just ordinary watercolour paper. You can use any type of watercolour paper you like. There's no specific needs or requirements. So we're going to do these both together. So straight up, paint over the branches. I've just drawn it up lightly with pencil, an ordinary pencil. And just go over your lines like that with your brown. And for the trees, I'm going to use a chrome green, opaque. You need an opaque colour for this. Otherwise, you might not get a very natural looking tree. So we'll start with this one, I think. And we'll go down. Ooh, might need a bit more water than that. It's quite hot out there today, and it's drying pretty fast. So we'll have a go at doing it all in one. But if not, we might have to re-wet it. But let's see how we get on. So for this one, we stipple. And the purpose of this little demonstration is to show you how when we use the different basic techniques with our watercolour pencils for different elements of our landscape, the different techniques when put together will give you various textures or varied textures, and it will give us a more realistic looking landscape. So that was quick, wasn't it? And we're going to do this tree over here just as quickly, hopefully. So we're just going to shade this on, or blend it with water first. And this is a dry into wet technique, which is where you paint the water on first, and in this case we are stippling the leaves or the foliage onto the area of the tree. So this is stippling dry into wet, dry pencil onto a wet background. So there's our trees. I might bring that down just a touch further, but we won't worry too much about it, I don't think. And I'm going to put that back. We'll put that over there out of the way for the time being. And then we're going to move on to our hedgerow here. And this is going to be scumbled. Now, if you've joined me before, you will know that scumbling is this circular movement. And I'm just going to use, to begin with, I'm going to use 2 tones of green. And to begin with, I'm going to use a layer of a fairly mid-tone green. Now, this doesn't matter whether it's opaque or a transparent green, but just keep scumbling it like that, round and round. And this will replicate the leaves in our hedgerow, and we're going to keep on doing that until we've finished our little hedgerow here. And then when we've done that in a few minutes or a few moments, we're going to put a bit of dark into it just to add some depth, and that will be an opaque, the dark will be an opaque green, and that will be an olive green or an olivey type green. So this is actually called olive green yellowish, but any dark or opaque green will do. If you haven't got an opaque green, just use a fairly dark green. Not quite as heavy, not quite as prominent. And we're just going to scumble and squiggle, which is a new technique, new terminology, scumble and squiggle, into that mid area, just to give us a bit of depth in the middle of our hedgerow. And that's going to be all for that. That's all we're going to do. And then we're going to take our brush, and rather than blend like that, we're going to take our brush and we're going to stipple the texture together like that. Now, when we come to the tree, you'll see what I mean about having that texture come up naturally, the natural connection between the tree and the hedge. We don't want the tree looking like it's sitting on top of the hedge. We want it to look like it's behind it. And if we paint in the tree first and then put this hedgerow over the top, it will look like it's behind it. So that's why we do it like that. And we're just going to keep on doing that until we get to the end. And you've got that lovely texture in the hedgerow. Wash out our brush. And I'm going to take the same mid-tone green as I used for the hedge. And just to finish off this little scene, we are just going to do a basic wash. And we're going to paint the grass. And this is just a basic wash where we shade on our pencil, just like that. And we cover up any sky that's still showing like this. And we need it to be a little bit darker under there, not too much. So we'll just go to the edge, whoops, like that, hold on to it. And we're nearly done there. And then all we do is we take our brush and we do blend it like that. So all I'm going to do is use my brush in the standard way, the traditional way of blending for a basic wash. And obviously we do this whether it was a pencil or a traditional watercolour or acrylic. So there is our little scene with some grass in the front just to finish it off. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this and that you join me for the next one. And in the meantime, enjoy your painting, stay safe, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye for now.